There's a long one. Nothing but net. Oh, my goodness. Didn't see that coming. I'm diddly dee.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of All Nat, brought to you by OTS. I am your host, Natalie, but most people call me Nat. And Dub Nation, wow, we're in for like a really good episode today. As you can see, a man who needs no introduction. I have Bonta Hill with me, who is a host for 97.5 The Game, also NBC Sports Bay Area. You can catch him everywhere. You can catch him on Twitter. He's the man. I'm just humbled to be in your presence and to have you on the show. So Bonta, thank you for coming on the podcast to chop it up with me.
Anytime. Hey, you got your own sponsorship, OTS. I mean, I don't need an introduction. You don't need an introduction. You got sponsorships already rolling around. I'll be like you. I mean, I'm doing something wrong in my world.
Oh, please. But, you know, I'm learning from the greats like you and Marcus Thompson. So
nothing about me is great. I'm just a fool who loves sports, man. But I appreciate the compliment.
Yeah, so thank you for being on. We were actually gonna record before because we thought we were gonna have a weekend off last weekend because we thought the Timberwolves would push the Grizzlies to 7, but they couldn't do their job. And really by their job, we just wanted it to go longer so our lives would be easier, right? You wanted the weekend off. Man. I wanted a little extra time. That didn't happen. And so the series started and the Warriors pulled out a tough game 1. They didn't play their best. Draymond got kicked out of the game. There were some shenanigans, whatever, but the Warriors won by 1 point after Clay missed some free throws. That was shocking to all of us. Right. And they won with in the final defensive possessions being won a stop by Steph and then Clay, because I don't think they're really giving Clay a credit for that block on Ja at the end, but he did get his hand on the ball. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I mean, I thought GP2 may have something on there as well. I mean, first of all, it was a great defensive play by Klay Thompson and recognize that Ja had gotten by Gary Payton II. I'm not sure why Gary Payton II was put in position to press Ja like that. I would have maybe played off of him a little bit. What the hell do I know? I'm not a coach. I don't get paid to make those decisions. But Klay Thompson switching off of Brandon Clark right away to realize that, Ja's got a free lane to go to his left, and he just gets right in front of him. I'm not sure if he got a piece of the ball or not. But it was a great defensive play, and more than made up for the 2 missed free throws, because we would have forgotten about the go-ahead 3 that he did make to give the Warriors a 117 to 116 lead. So right now, I think Dub Nation's been like, man, the Warriors should be up 2-0 after the way those first 2 games went out. But game 1 was riveting. And to your point, Patrick Beverly, who likes to tweet about people not dropping 47 on his team, well, his team is out there in Tulum.
Exactly. Like, what was the point of those tweets?
Especially when you blew 2 20-point leads in game number 3. You blew a 13-point lead in the fourth quarter, the swing game in game 5, and you blew another double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, late in the third, early fourth in game 6. So I don't know why Pat Bev is tweeting. He wants attention right now. He's watching basketball. So whatever. Ja can do what he does, and yet Memphis is still eking by winning that 1 game too. So I think Dub Nation got to feel good about where they're at right now.
For sure. You know what he sounds like? Do you remember like that story about that game apparently in college that Steph played at Davidson where that coach just wanted to like stop him? So they still lost, but he's just like, but we stopped Steph. It's like, okay, you get points for stopping Ja or winning the series, Pat Bev. Like what, Yeah, no, I did actually see like someone did like a photo and did like a zoom in of Clay on that final possession, and he actually did get his hands on the ball. So I thought he just like altered the shot, but he did enough to like, either way, we won that game. And then game 2 comes and everyone is kind of like amped up. We know it's going to be a super physical game. Memphis doesn't want to go down 0-2, right? So we're expecting intensity from both sides. And like within the first minute, like, or whatever it was, Dillon Brooks commits this ridiculous flagrant foul 2 is what it ended up being called on GP2, Gary Payton II. and basically has probably cost him his postseason. We don't know for sure, but it seems more likely than not. Fractured elbow, and he's now suspended for game 3. But like that happened. Dubs lose that game. They shouldn't have lost that game. Or maybe they should have. If you think about how they played, Steph had 5 turnovers. I think Dre had 4. They shot abysmally, like from 3. It was so bad. I don't even remember the percentage, but Andrew couldn't hit a 3. Clay couldn't hit anything. Steph couldn't. Poole couldn't. At least Steph and Poole were getting to the rim though. But I thought Jordan seemed a little indecisive in that game. Did you see that, or was that just me?
Yeah, two things about Jordan Poole. We'll get to the flagrant foul too, the flagrant 2 by Dillon Brooks. But Jordan, even in the first game, his first couple possessions, he looked a little skittish, a little discombobulated. And next thing you know, he drops 31, 9, and 8. He settles down. I thought he got in trouble in game 2, even though he was 8 for 16 from the floor, but 1 of 6 from the three-point line, as you cited. I think he got caught up in what he did earlier this season, where he's just dribbling a little too much.
Yeah.
Dribble. The Warriors want him to be decisive. 1, 2, 3. Okay, if it's not there, swing it. I think Jordan Poole got caught up in the moment a little bit, where he did get a little skittish offensively. And defensively, I thought that hurt him, because obviously he was kind of on skates when he got switched on to John Morant and switched on to others. So even though he dropped 20, it was a very quiet 20 for Jordan Poole. And the misses, as you said, 7 to 38 from the three-point line in game number 2. One of the worst postseason performances from 3 in Warriors history. You got to go back to 1991, Nat. 1991, we were young when the Warriors shot 3 of 17 in a playoff game against the LA Lakers. And I had my man Chris Millen on the team. Look, they shot poorly, but I would live with the looks. Apparently, they were like 0-19, 0 for 19 on wide open looks from 3. All right, 0-19. So they're going to make more shots. Clay's not going to go 2-12. Steph's not going 3 for 11. Jordan Poole's not going 1 for 6. And Wiggins is not bricking there from 3. So look, 7 to 38 from the three-point line, and yet it still had a chance to win that game. It took a heroic effort by John Morant scoring the Grizzlies' last 15 points. You'll live with it because he made some tough shots. I think the Warriors are defending well. Like, it's a game they should have won. But you talked about the turnovers, right? Steph Curry had like 3 turnovers in a 2-minute span in the fourth quarter. Yeah. It was choppy for the Dubs.
They were brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal. So look, like you said, Memphis had to win that game. They don't win that game, we may not get a game 5 in Memphis. You know what I'm saying? They're going down 0-2 coming to Chase Center, where the Warriors shoot a lot better, where they had the second best record at home in the NBA. It may have been curtain for the Memphis Grizzlies, but now we have a series. Because one, Dillon Brooks, who's actually been hurting the Memphis Grizzlies, game
this
one.
Is actually probably beneficial for them that he won't be playing.
Exactly. Game 1, when they didn't overturn a block call on Stephen Curry, I'm thinking, you know what? I don't want Dillon Brooks to foul out. I want him in this basketball game because he's chucking it up like he's at the CYO on fire. He was terrible in that game, and he was terrible in the first 3 minutes of game number 2. And so when you think about that foul and him being suspended for game 3, 1, I thought he should have been suspended for more. But I get it. The NBA is going to do that. They suspended Grayson Allen for 1 game, despite Caruso.
Well, that should have been more too.
Which is a joke. It's a joke because it changed the Bulls season. They went from a top 3 seed in the East to a 6th seed in the East and getting bounced in 5 by the Milwaukee Bucks. Gary Payton II may not play again. He may not ever get a chance to play in the postseason again. We don't know what his future is. We don't know if he's going to be a Warrior. Think about his game 5 in the fourth quarter. Spectacular, right? 10 points in the fourth quarter, 15 overall, lockdown defense, picking up full court. Game 1, same thing, lockdown defense on Ja. I found this out today, Nat, that John Morant was shooting 16% against Gary Payton II, 16% against GP2. So Dillon Brooks, what he did was shameful. It's one of the most disgusting acts I've seen in the playoff in my lifetime of watching basketball. In my lifetime. I don't know what happened before me. I've seen clips, but in my lifetime and what I've watched with my own 2 eyes, Dillon Brooks was shameful for that. It was a dirty play. Did I think he intended to hurt GP2? I have no idea, but he wanted to send a message, and he sent the message, and he ended his season. It was shameful. It was disgusting. And it kind of changed the game because the Warriors, as you saw, were scrambling to try to find defenders for John Morant.
Right.
So that's something they got to focus on moving forward.
I feel just awful for Gary Payton, because like this was his time. And I really have been very uncomfortable with like some of the stuff I'm seeing coming out of Memphis, like from the media, from their fan base on Twitter. Gary Payton should know how to fall properly. They're trying to blame Steve Kerr for like why the league suspended him. Like, are y'all serious right now? They're trying to make comparisons with Dre and Zaza. And I'm just like, this is like utterly ridiculous. So it's pretty disappointing. And I get it, you want to stick up for your team, but like even his own teammate admitted that it was a bit excessive. So it's just like, what are y'all doing right now? You sound crazy. So I just feel really, really, awful for him. I do. And I know there's like a slim light of hope, like if the Warriors go the full distance, that maybe he could return in the finals. I don't want it to be at the risk though of like his future or anything. So I just hope they do what's best for him and he does what's best for him. But if there's a chance of him coming back this postseason, I would love to, love for him to get that opportunity.
He's going to be needed, Matt. He's going to be needed. They're going to miss Gary Payton II.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this is the most crucial series that we would need him in based on like who's left to play. But like, he's definitely just like, it's crazy because he's so small and he's like one of our best lob threats, He might be the best lob threat we have.
I mean, outside
maybe
of Jonathan
Kuminga gets that, but like Kuminga wasn't playing as many minutes as him.
No doubt. Now, in that dunker spot that he plays in, where you could kick it down to him and he gets the easy layup or the dunk. And the best thing about Gary Payton II's evolution was a three ball was starting to fall.
Yes.
Three ball was
a reliable corner 3-point shooter.
We know about the game 5-3 to make it 94-90 or 99-94 against Denver in game number 5, but he was starting to hit the three. He was starting to make plays, smart passes. So he was starting to round into form as a nice all-around player, a nice role player that you need on the championship team. So yeah, they're going to miss him against John Morant. It's a series-changing injury, but if the Warriors can handle business at home and go back to Memphis up 3-1, then they can survive, breathe easy, deal with the Phoenix Suns, who I think is going to get past Dallas in the conference finals. And hopefully GP2 can come back either at the end of the conference finals or the NBA finals. But just a tough blow. And look, the crime doesn't fit the punishment. We all know that. Dillon Brooks is lucky to get one game. Lucky to get one game for what he did. That's a move, Nat, that if you saw that on the playground,
it'd be a fight. It would be a fight. He would have
got beat up. He would have got straight up beat up. I had Xavier McDaniel on my radio show earlier this week, and he was talking about, look, man, we played the Pistons, and they knocked my teammate Derek McKee on his ass. He told Derek to get up, and he said, if anything happened to this dude again, I'm gonna break somebody's jaw. Now, he added some explicits to it live on radio, but he was about that life. He was not having that. So with all that said, I don't want anybody to retaliate. Just win the games. That's the best retaliation.
I want them to win the games by domination, though. I don't want any more of this close shit because, quite frankly, with all due respect, actually with all disrespect, I feel like the Warriors have allowed this team to even think they're on our level, and they're not. The Grizzlies are a nice young story. They're upcoming, they're gritty, all of that stuff. And John Morant is incredibly talented. But we have Stephen Curry, we have Klay Thompson, the rise of Poole, and then we have Draymond Green, who would have probably been the defensive player of the year, but for his injury, this team just has not even played close to their level. And these games have been close or they're eking out wins. So I just want them to play to their level because I feel like it's not even going to be close. Bane hasn't been able to get going in this series.
That is a concern for Bane. He's not moving around right.
And then you're out there having to chase those light-skinned dudes around. That ain't easy work. You know what I'm saying? That's not easy work, Bonta. So, he hasn't gotten going. I never expected JJJ to shoot like that again after game 1. He also is going to just always be in foul trouble. That's something that's not going away, it seems. So, they were able to relatively keep the other players in check. And, I actually am aligned with that strategy as well. I mean, I think maybe you can try to give Ja a little bit more resistance, but, you've dared him to shoot. He's now done 2 games of doing that. But I get it. Like, if they have to win by Ja scoring 47 and barely win, then I like our chances.
Yeah, you know what? And they'll blitz Ja a little bit. They'll show him a few more doubles, and they'll make somebody else beat him. Look, they always say role players play better at home. So you look at Zaire Williams, a rookie out of Stanford, who had 4 threes for the Memphis Grizzlies, including those 2 early threes in the fourth quarter. I thought that was huge for Memphis, getting those 14 points. Jaren Jackson Jr., as you mentioned, he will get himself in foul trouble. He can't help himself. He can't help himself. He's going to hack. He's going to do something. This team is full of hacks. All right. You look at the 2-minute report. They got away with a loose ball foul. They got away with the carry. John Moran has been special, but make it a little tougher on him. Try to force him right a little bit more. I know it's easier said than done because he's so skillful, that I don't want to take that away from him. I don't want to take that away from Ja. He's a special, special talent. But Bane doesn't look right. All right. Zaire Williams, I don't think he has another game like that in him. Jaren Jackson, as you mentioned, he's not dropping 33 at the Golden State Warriors again.
Right.
Anthony Melton, I'm not sure he's going to have that type of impact against the Warriors. I'm definitely not worried about Kyle Anderson, Mr. Slow-Mo. That got him locked up. So look, it comes down to this, Nat. All the coaching, throw it all out the window, everything. It comes down to the Warriors making shots.
It does.
Offense that they didn't do in the fourth quarter against Memphis, they win this series. Clay's not going to shoot 21% like he has in the last 3 games from the 3-point line. Steph's not going 3-4-11. They will get this thing rolling, and that's why Dub Nation tomorrow night at Chase Center, they got to get rolling. They got to get
them
loud.
making the noise.
These next 2 games are the biggest game for Chase Center until hopefully they get to the conference finals. And then we'll be talking about those games being the biggest games ever at Chase Center. But they got to be loud and they got to make Memphis feel it.
Absolutely. I mean, there's like at least a number of things you can point to that happen in game 2 where you're like, if they do this differently, they win. If they even shoot like a quarter of what they normally shoot, half, they win the game. If they don't turn over the ball that excessively, because even though this team can be turnover prone, Steph is not usually going to have 5 turnovers. He's not going to, right? No. So if they just don't do that, they win this game, right? There's just like so many things that you can point to that like, if this was just different. So I feel good going into game 3. I do, especially with now Memphis was one of the teams that beat them earlier in the season at home, but then that was also a game where we got up really big and then, got too comfortable and just let it go. But it also was a game where Clay didn't play in that game. Jordan Poole wasn't playing this way then. So it's just like a completely different team. So I expect them to go in there and handle business. I really don't. We need a couple of like those Denver games where we blew them out. And I'm not saying that just because like I need it so like I need it because I think the Warriors need to remind people of who they are and what they can be and the dominant team that they are, and just kind of send a message. Because because it's close and the Grizzlies are hanging with us. I know the Grizzlies are never going to back down. That's just who they are. But it's also giving them the confidence to believe like we can hang with this team. Well, and I want to take their hope.
Nat, the confidence came from last year. It stems from last season.
Right.
Last week of the season where the Warriors needed like 46 from Steph to beat them on a Sunday to play the Lakers in a playing game. And then, of course, the Grizzlies going to overtime at Chase Center and winning that playing game at Chase Center. So I know there was not many fans. I think it was like 8,000 people at the game, but it wasn't the full.
And we were very seriously lacking in talent on the floor.
It was a flawed roster.
But they're going to ignore that. Right. They're just going to remember that they beat the Warriors.
Very flawed roster. Jordan Poole was finishing in those lineups. Wiggins was shot.
Kent Bazemore was on the squad. Michael Mulder was a key rotation piece.
The Warriors match up with this team, and they've done things well in the series in terms of rebounding. Yeah, rebounded the Grizzlies in both games. The offensive rebounds advantage Warriors. Points in the paint advantage Warriors. Second chance points, especially in game 2, advantage Warriors. So they're winning all the other categories. They're just losing. They're minus 27 from the 3-point line. Yeah. I did not foresee that happening in this series. So we'll see if they can cut into that gap there and not, hopefully after game 3, they're -9 from the 3-point line, which means they'll be a +18 in game 3 from the 3-point line. So they just got to shoot the ball better, make shots. That's simply it.
What do you think about the fact that Steven Adams may return? Because I don't think that benefits the Grizzlies either, but their fan base seems to be talking like it will. And I'm like, yeah, you might get some better screens for Ja, and you might get someone to grab some more boards, but that's food for Steph and Poole. Like if you put Steven Adams out there.
It's barbecue chicken. It's high screen, get them involved and get them on a 3-point line, and let's play them out the game. And I think that's what Steve Kerr and coaching staff will do. Look, you got to hunt Ja. If Ja's going to kill you offensively, go at him defensively.
Go back at him, because Jordan could just go at Ja. Ja got nothing for Jordan.
Yeah, no, his defense is lacking. Ja Morant, they want to talk
Ja
about.
actually has nothing for anybody. How about that?
Ja's defense is terrible. Ja's defense is terrible. The Grizzlies are terrible defensively because they lose Steph and Clay. How many wide open threes they've had?
Right. So that's what I think is funny. The story that's trying to come out like they held us to that scoring. No. Those guys were getting a lot of wide open shots. And like in game 1 in particular, you could see like they were going out of their way to hide Ja so he would not be on Steph and so he would not have to guard him. And I'm just like, come on, like y'all have to, because it reminded me of like the Denver series when they weren't taking advantage of the mismatch they had with Boogie. Like, I get it. He's going to like come on, he's going to do what he's going to do on the offense, but like Boogie can't stop y'all. And sometimes I get a little frustrated when this team doesn't take advantage of their mismatches. So you think we'll see some more of that in this next game?
I do think we'll see that. This series are all about adjustments, right? We've had 2 games. The Warriors did their job in splitting those 2 games. That's what you want as a road team when you don't have home court advantage. You split those first 2 games, knowing that, man, could have been up 2-0. You let a game get away, but now Memphis is probably thinking the same thing, that they let a game get away. So we're 1-1 now. It's all 1-1. It's all level. And so I think Steve Kerr will make that adjustment with Steven Adams. Remember, he was unplayable against Minnesota.
Right.
And they had Karl Anthony Towns. They had Naz Reid. They had bigger bodies on that Minnesota T-Wolves squad, and yet Steven Adams couldn't play. They pulled him out of the starting lineup. So I don't fear Steven Adams. Yeah, he may set screens. I think he's the one player. He leads the Memphis Grizzlies in terms of assists to job points, paints, or whatnot. Whatever. I'll live with that. Get him in all the high ball screens with Ja and Steven Adams, and they will get cooked. They will get cooked Saturday night. So I don't worry about Steven Adams. Don't worry about Dillon Brooks. Desmond Bane has a lower back soreness. Make sure he stays hurt. You don't want to get Desmond Bane going. You want to make sure you limit his touches. I still will be weary of him because he will get hot with the best of them. I'm not going to knock Desmond Bane at all. He could shoot it, flat out shoot it. So you want to make sure that he stays under wraps and get Clay some easy shots. Put Clay in a situation to where he's not forcing bad shots. Now, some of it's on Clay trying to be Kobe from the baseline fade away. It's all good.
I was going to ask what you thought about his shot selection.
It was a little rough. It was rough, but Clay does that sometimes. And he was just trying to do too much to try to get his team out of a funk and try to bring it upon himself. He's had 3 days off to clear his mind, to get some shots up in the gym. I expect Clay to erupt Saturday night at Chase Center. I really do. He can shoot it with the best. And you already know that, Nat. So he's not going to shoot 21% from 3 like he has the last 3 games. That percentage will go up. Stephen Curry, even though he shot 3 of 11 from the 3-point line, he will be better from 3 in the series moving forward because he's getting great looks. So just continue to cut down on the turnovers, rebound with the Memphis Grizzlies, and you should be able to outlast them. Because let's be honest, Nat, Memphis.
I want to outlast them. I want to beat them. I want to beat them, Bonta.
Well,
I don't like this talk. Beat them. Dominate.
You win by 1 or 2. I don't care. You're up 2-1.
You're
up 2-1.
But now I want to send the message. I want to send the message.
I hear you.
I do.
The biggest thing to me is getting that W, scoring more than them. I don't care what it is, 99-98, 198 to 90, to 197. I do not care.
You.
Win that game because you can move on here. And now all of a sudden Memphis is saying, oh boy, we're down 2-1. We're in game 4. Oh boy, what's going to happen here? And we had the distraction with Dillon Brooks. So I think the Warriors are in a good spot here. But again, keep rebounding with them. Don't turn their ball over. Continue to play solid transition defense. John's not going to shoot like that the rest of the series, although he is a special player. Make it hard for him. If he wants to be a volume scorer, I'm all good for that. Go be a volume scorer. But shut everybody else down and they should be fine.
So I want to ask you, so we're Andre won't be back. He's going to be evaluated in another week. GP2's gone. So we're down to 8 rotation players now, if you count Kuminga, and I do count him, right? So first, let's talk about Kuminga, and then I want to get to who you may think, because Kerr's just not the kind of coach who, like, most rotations are 8 to 9 deep in the playoffs, but just knowing Kerr, he's probably going to want to tap into someone else. So I want to get to that too. But first, what do you think this is going to mean now for Jonathan Kuminga? Because I think he's going to get more minutes, and I think he needs to get more minutes. He's been good, I think. Obviously, he's still a rookie, and you have to be careful, like, where you're playing him. But I think that he needs to see more time. So what are your thoughts on Kuminga?
I'm good with Kuminga seeing about 10 to 15 minutes per game. You know, you see some of the games in Denver where he scores 9 in an 11-minute burst. This guy does not care that it's the playoffs. No. All right. This kid is a 19-year-old, has some of the most. I wish I had confidence like them at 19 years old. The guy has swagger. He probably in his own head thinks he's better than Steph. You know what I'm saying? That's how confident.
Right. Yeah.
Unbelievable in that aspect. And you see him in game 2 getting run, getting some easy dunks. You see him in game 1 getting some easy dunks. I think you have to dust off Kuminga for about 10 to 15 minutes a game. And think about it, Nat. You're going to live with some of the defensive pitfalls, right? He's going to get lost on defense. He's going to get stuck on the screen. He's going to leave somebody open. It could kill you. I get it. Steve Kerr does not like that. Steve Kerr loves veterans. He loves playing his vets. But I think you got to stick with Kuminga in this series because he is one of the more athletic players on both rosters.
Yes.
Give him some run because he'll get you easy baskets, which the Warriors struggled with late down the stretch. Everything was all hectic and hurried. They weren't getting easy shots.
They can't stop him. Memphis can't stop him. And even if it's a foul. So they can't stop him. And like, he's been making the free throws, you know?
He has been making free throws. And I love him rolling off of that Draymond Green pick and roll when they're in the half court. He sets a screen for Dre. Dre starts to go downhill and there's Kuminga. He throws it up for an alley-oop. That's an easy 2. So I think Kuminga will see a little bit more playing time. Now, how much playing time he sees in the second half is all dependent on how he plays in the first half. If he plays well in the first half, he's going to see a lot more run in the second half. But I do think they'll dust off Jonathan Kuminga tomorrow night.
What are you expecting the starting lineup to be now? Do you think they're just going to go with the new death lineup, whatever it is, or do you think they're like, I have no clue what direction they're going to go?
Steve Kerr mentioned that he's not going to play the new death lineup about 25 minutes a game, and I don't think he should because the one thing about the death lineup with Kevin Durant, they weren't really that small. Kevin Durant, 7 foot with a long wingspan. Andre Iguodala, 6'8" with a long wingspan.
Right.
Draymond Green has a long wingspan. Klay Thompson, long wingspan. So they weren't really small. They kind of reminded you of the Celtics of today, right? With Tatum and Brown and Smart. They got long dudes who are athletic. So this small lineup is really small with Draymond playing the 5 and you have Klay playing the 4 basically with Wiggins and Jordan Poole. So I don't think they'll start. I could see Otto Porter Jr. starting at the 4, which makes a lot of people cringe because of the way his shot has not been falling for the Golden State Warriors.
I think Otto's been so good, though.
Yeah, he's been good. I got no complaints about Otto Porter Jr. Once that 3 ball starts falling, the Warriors will be that much more deadly.
Yeah, I don't think shot will come.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see Looney and Draymond in the starting lineup together. The spacing there could be an issue when both of them on the floor. But even in game 2, I thought maybe Curry could have dusted off Looney a little bit in the second half. He didn't see a second of playing time. In a grimy game, that was game number 2. That was physical and nasty. I would at least play Looney to spell some of the smalls to get some size in there and just to give Draymond and Wiggins an extra blow. So the starting lineup to me, I don't really care about it, to be honest with you. Not whoever starts, whatever.
Yeah, I don't care who starts. I just don't know what direction he's going to go. You know, with Otto, to me, the thing that's still good about Otto is like, you got to respect his 3. So he still provides some spacing out there. But like, I mean, come on, he's been rebounding. He's just been like smart plays. He got them so many extra possessions between him and Andrew, which I'm so proud of Andrew. I feel like he's like a unsung hero, like in this series so far. But I mean, so I'm not that worried. Like Otto's shot will come at some point in this postseason. Otto's shot is going to return and he's going to be big for us. But I just like the fact that he's still making himself very valuable on the court, despite like not being able to shoot. I think he was one of the few players who had a positive plus minus last game.
His plus minus was high last game. I want to say it was plus 13,
I'm gonna look.
17.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Look it up, but Otto's a career 40% 3-point shooter. He struggled since February 1st. There's no doubt he's been struggling. I think going into the series against the Memphis Grizzlies, he was like 13 of his last 50 in the regular season, and he only made 2 threes against the Denver Nuggets. 3 balls got to fall, but his hustle, and you brought up Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins has just been steady in the series. And now when you think about defending Ja Morant, there's probably going to be a lot more Andrew Wiggins guarding Ja Morant.
Right.
Look, he's been crashing the glass, 9 rebounds in game number 2. He had 9 rebounds against Denver in game 1, a playoff career high for him. Wiggins has been fine. I'm not really worried about Wiggins. Would you like the shot to fall a little bit more? Absolutely. But I'm not worried about that. I still like the Warriors' chances. Again, in this series, I would not panic if I was a Warrior fan.
I would like Andrew Wiggins to do that dunk again that he did. That's what I would love to see because
that was vicious. That was vicious.
Otto was a plus 17.
Plus 17. See, told you
in the last game. Really yeah, I mean his shot is gonna come. I think too a lot of because Otto doesn't play back-to-backs in the regular season, and then his minute. I think maybe some of the lack of consistency, which was about maintaining him, but I think some of the lack of consistency in his play may have kind of hurt his rhythm on the season. So I think with the consistency in the postseason, I expect to see his shot come back. So I'm really not worried about Otto, but he's been great for us, I think.
He's been solid. So you got Otto Porter Jr. You have obviously Iguodala on the shelf. I think we'll see a little more Kuminga and Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole will be better. So again, the top 8 for the Golden State Warriors are how they play. It's just about staying in front of Ja. It don't get caught up in the foul game. The foul game has been very, very inconsistent. And look, the referees are going to make bad calls. I've been watching the NBA my entire life. Referees make bad calls. In my opinion, all refs stink. All right? All refs stink, in my opinion, whether it's football, baseball, umpires, officials, they all stink. And they've gotten worse and worse and worse. So you got to live with the bad calls. But when it came down to it, the Warriors did have control of the game in their hands. They just didn't execute. So don't let Memphis fluster you offensively. Continue to take good shots because the ball's hopping around. You're controlling all the other aspects of the basketball game. It's just the 3 balls not falling. So breathe easy, make your threes, and you should be able to handle this team here. But look, they're athletic. They're cocky. They're arrogant. Even their coach, who called the referees arrogant a couple of weeks ago and said they were poor and he got fined. All of a sudden, Dylan Brooks does what he does, and I trust the referees to make a good call.
Yeah.
Memphis is flustered. They've never been here before, so treat them like they've never been here before.
Right.
What a big second round playoff game is all about. So the experiences on the Warriors side, they should be able to overcome GP2 and get past the series. Because trust me, I want this one. I've wanted Memphis for a long time.
Me
and they're hitting the gritty during the first quarter and hitting the gritty on the sideline, and they're all dancing and feeling, they're talking dynasty when they've never even been out the first round.
I know. Listen, it's incredible. And I don't say incredible in the positive sense. The fouls have been excessive though, because I think first it was in the first game, it was Steph and Clay. Mm-hmm. I think last game, Dre got into some foul trouble. Jordan had 5. And I think it's really important, particularly for Poole and Steph, because the more time they spend on the court, the better. You have 2 shot creators out there. So we really need those 2 really not to be in trouble. And of course, Dre, but it's so important. So I hope they can limit the fouls if possible. That would be really good. And I don't think, it's Ja, if you breathe on him, he gets a foul. So the kind of calls he's getting is remarkable, but I would expect that he's not going to be getting all those calls and chase. So
exactly. No, and again, it's the offense, Nat, because the offense is hurting the defense, as Draymond astutely pointed out at his presser earlier today, basically saying, look, man, our bad shots and turnovers is getting Memphis in the transition. So the Warriors offense has really let them down. You hold a team to 106 in today's NBA, you should win. But I am eager to see what type of schemes Kerr and company cook up to defend Ja Morant. Are they going to go janky defense with box and one or triangle and two? How are they going to go zone against Ja and this Memphis Grizzlies team that likes to shoot the three ball? I don't know what they do about Ja Morant. That's the head of the snake, and he's getting to wherever he needs to get to in the series. So again, if they need 47 from Ja every game, they're not going to get that.
Right. And that's I don't even know that you have to like just be a little smarter on Ja, but I don't think there has to be like an extreme focus in trying to like stop him, which is what the Wolves did, but all of the other guys on Memphis were able to get going, you know. So I kind of like, if Ja wants to try to beat you by himself, he can. Make sure those other guys don't get going. We play the way that we normally play, and we win that game comfortably. Not just win it, but comfortably. So I agree with you. So do you think we're going to see any more, I don't think Belly, but like Lee appearances? Do you think he might tap into JTA or anyone else? Because, you know, like I think you're fine going with the 8 guys unless someone gets into foul trouble,
Right.
but just knowing Kerr, I also don't see it.
They've had 3 days off, right? Before game 3. You get Wednesday, you get Thursday, you get Friday off. They had the entire day off Wednesday. Nobody came to practice. Day off, get away from Dylan Brooks stuff. Come back to shoot around Thursday. And then, of course, for today, Damian Lee, look, I don't think the minutes killed you, but it's a tough situation. When your players get into foul trouble, what are you going to do, right?
Right.
What are you going to do? You got to dust off somebody. Somebody's got to play. When Steph and Clay and GP2 has 3 fouls apiece, somebody's got to play. You got to call somebody's number. They're all pros. So, he's not playing Chris Chiozza, right? He's playing Damian Lee. I can handle that for 5 minutes a game. Hopefully those 5 minutes don't kill you. I can handle that. I can live with that.
Maybe JTA, I would like to see him try.
JTA,
Or
maybe
even
a little bit.
He probably won't do it, but I honestly wouldn't mind him trying Moody either, to be honest. But I don't think he'll.
Moody hasn't played in so long that it's just tough to say, hey, Moody, you just became, you're the freshman of the year in the SEC. Go out here in the second round and go defend Ja. I don't think that's fair to Moody to just throw him into the fire like that. Then where's his confidence level at? However, seeing Zaire Williams, another first-round pick from Stafford, help out the Grizzlies at home, maybe it's advantageous for the Warriors to play a Moody at home at Chase Center, where bench players feel a lot better. Damian Lee, I got to think, will feel a lot better at Chase Center. Right. JTA may feel a lot better at Chase Center. Also, JK, you're talking about, you brought up Belly. This just isn't the series for me. Nemanja Bjelica. And we saw that the last 3 games against Denver. First 2 games were great for Bjelica. Played very well off the bench.
We use those words differently.
Hey,
you say great.
Hey,
I don't, but okay.
He played good basketball.
Very good in game 2, and I say confident in game 1, but okay.
Very solid off the bench, played his role, didn't kill the Warriors. Last 3 games, we saw the 2 games in Denver, the boogeyman ate him up for lunch. There's no doubt. The boogeyman had his way against Bjelica. So I don't think this is a series we're going to see Bjelica at all unless there's an emergency and Looney and Draymond get into foul trouble. Then Steve's going to have no choice but to play Belly. But here's the thing with Belly. I'm sure the Grizzlies would hunt him on defense, which would drive every Warrior fan crazy because we know how Belly is off those pick and rolls.
You know my tweet.
He's not fleet of foot there. But Memphis doesn't have guys who know how to post them up. So I'm happy about that. Look, Kerr's going to go with his top 8. If you don't get in a foul trouble, we're not going to see those ancillary.
Okay. So you think he'll stick to the 8?
I do.
Okay.
But Steve Kerr, you never know. He loves going deep into the rotation early in the game. I've seen the guy play 10 dudes in the first quarter. You never know. He's played 10 dudes in the first quarter alone. So look, when it comes down to these playoff games, Nat, we know what it is. It comes down to your star players, Steph, Clay, Poole, and Draymond. How will they execute alongside Andrew Wiggins down the stretch here if the game is close? Now, hopefully the game isn't close, as you mentioned. Denver, the first 2 games, Warriors outscored the Nuggets by 21 in the second and the third quarter in both games 1 and 2, and it was a blowout. We were chilling on the fourth quarter. I got a funny feeling that it's not going to be the case in this series. So put your seatbelt on, man, because it's going to be a roller coaster ride.
I think we can get a couple of blowouts. They should. I mean, these games are close right now with the Warriors playing so below their level. And if it was like Memphis, I would give them the credit. When I say give them the credit, like if it was just their defense being elite,
Right.
and doing it, I would be like, but like if the Warriors just play their normal level, these games are not close. So, they're going to be in chase. I expect them to play to their level. And I mean, Steph is disgusted with himself. Like, did you see that shot? The one that he banked in, which wasn't
not
like
happy about that.
He was like upset he banked it in.
He was not happy about that. Clay's not happy about his performance. They're not happy. The Warriors, look, during that 5-year run when they made the NBA Finals 5 straight years, I think they hated losing more than they liked winning.
Yeah.
They expected to win, but when they lost, oh my Lord, they were not happy. Even the 73-9 team, they were disgusted when they lost those 9 games. Same thing with this team. As long as you got Curry, Clay, and Dre on this team, the championship nucleus, and what's been built in with this culture, they're not happy about losing. So I expect them to bounce back.
And they're not like they're marksmen. So they're not happy when their free throws aren't going in when they're shot, because they're like, this is what I'm paid to do. This is what I do well. So there needs to be at least one blowout. I 3 needs to be a blowout. And then I think game 4 will be close just because Memphis would
they'll be desperate.
Right. But they need to win these next 2 games. I originally said Warriors in 6. That was my initial call. But I said, if the Warriors play to their level, there's a path to 5. And what I said was, they win game 1, Memphis takes game 2, they win at home in 3 and 4, and then you go back to Memphis for like a fight. And maybe Memphis wins or they don't, but like that was the only path I saw really to them winning in 5. I never thought it would be a sweep. So, but I was like, they don't win in Memphis. They come back and close it out at home and chase. So
yeah, no, I had Dubs in 6 originally. I still think they'll win in 6.
Yeah.
Although I could see the Warriors going back to Memphis in game 5 and doing what championship teams do and say, you know what? We got a chance to eliminate you. Let's go ahead and knock you out. Let's go do it right now. So when we do travel back to the Bay Area after game number 5, we're going back to the Bay to chill and wait on the Suns and the Mavericks.
Especially if that Suns series doesn't end up being close. Because if they see that like the Suns are going to end early and get to finish their series at home chilling and just watching and taking notes, they're not going to like that. So I think also whatever's happening that other series can kind of dictate in a way what happens in this series.
Yeah, I think the Warriors, they just want to handle their business. They want to get back to the conference finals after missing the playoffs for 2 straight seasons and remind everybody that the Warriors aren't dead, that the championship window is still open, and they have reinforcements with some young studs, Jordan Poole.
Still open. Can you say that again? Because I saw the craziest tweet the other day, like the Warriors better beat Memphis this year because they're never going to beat them again. Like, what?
Listen, Nat.
Why do people say things like this? And this is like an NBA account. Like a
Twitter.
No, but this was like a media person. I'm not gonna say who, but like, what is that?
I'm done getting outraged over Twitter. I'm done. I can't do it because there's a lot of idiots out there. I call them twidiots. All right, they're straight up twidiots. All right, they're twidiots straight up. They will say anything. I was in the barbershop earlier today, and a guy told me, he was a Rockets fan. He said Steph Curry is a Hall of Fame role player. He says Steph Curry's never carried, and I almost walked out the barbershop. So this is what we're dealing with, Nat. We got people who cannot, they hate Curry so much that he's a glorified role player in a lot of their minds. All he can do is shoot. And I'm just like, you don't remember the Kevin Durant dunks in game 1 of the 2017 finals when the lane parted like the Red Sea because of Steph Curry petrifying the Cleveland Cavaliers once he crossed half court?
But Steph just closed out the Denver series. It was him because Poole didn't have his best 2 games, those finals.
He was on the bench in crunch time. Yeah.
And then if you watch this last game, Steph has been putting on a masterclass at the rim. How do you watch him? Because his 3 isn't falling, right? But he's putting on a masterclass at the rim. So, and he hit a couple of middies. So how are people watching? I will never understand. Steph's finishing is so underrated to me. It makes no sense. Oh, damn it. I lost my thought because I wanted to ask you something. I don't get, I know what I was going to say. I don't understand how Chris Paul, when the Suns go out there and play, Chris Paul has one of these games and all I see is point guard and he's still doing it at this age. And Chris Paul is how many years older than Steph? So
You're 37.
they're watching Chris Paul do this right now. And yet all I keep hearing is, well, Steph's going to be 30. What, like, Chris Paul is playing at a high level right now. So why do you all think the Warriors are done next year or this is their last year? Like, why do we go through this exercise every year?
Well, this is the silly part about all of this, Nat, is that when you think about Steph Curry and how deadly he is off the ball, off the ball, not too many NBA players can do what Steph Curry does off the ball. Look, Russell Westbrook cannot play off the ball. James Harden cannot play off the ball. Stephen Curry can, and now he has Jordan Poole who can be a playmaker and create wide open threes for him in yesteryear. So when he is 36, when he is 37, he won't be the primary playmaker. He'll lose a step here or there, but that shot is going nowhere. So that's going to extend his career having a Jordan Poole. So he's going to age gracefully. His game is going to age gracefully.
To me, that's so evident. I don't understand why that's unclear. And right now, he's still good on the ball.
Yeah, no doubt. He's great on the ball.
He's one of the best players in isolation. Like, I don't know why people think he's still right now getting more points per possession than Ja in isolation. He just doesn't do it as much. And it's just always interesting to me how people look at this team, how they talk about Steph. I was a little surprised when I saw that tweet because of who it came from, but we better beat the Grizzlies this year because we'll never beat them again. I mean, that people think something like that is wild to me, Bonta.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of wild takes out there when it comes to basketball. All right.
There's
a lot of wild takes out there. There's a lot of idiots out there who say things and they tweet things for click and shock value. There's people who out there who think the Warriors should trade Clay. Now, in a league that values shooting more so than anything, and a value spacing more so than anything, why would you trade one of the best three-point shooters this league has ever seen? Right. That makes zero sense. Oh, well, you got Jordan Poole coming. There's no room. No, there's room for Clay, Jordan Poole, and Steph, because Clay is transitioning into a small forward. His lower body is still strong. He can still play solid defense in the post. Yeah. Right now in space, he's struggling a bit. Guy had played 941 days. He's coming back off of the Achilles tendon. So he's not going to be there right away. It's going to take him time.
Yeah, to get back. I expect next year for Clay to have a much better defensive season.
He'll be fine. Fine. So, it's just there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of pollution out there. I don't even think people understand what they're watching half the time. So I ignore it all.
Have you seen some of Dre's latest podcasts, or at least caught the highlights from them?
I have.
So what have you thought about, so he talked about the flagrant on him, like right after he went and recorded right after that game. And he alluded to the fact that that was probably a large part of the call reputational. Do you agree with him?
Oh, absolutely. It was a reputation flagrant 2. I'm in the room at the studio with Darrell Wright and Chris Moon, the two guys who played this game. One's a Hall of Famer. One won the championship with the Miami Heat and been around great players, Dwayne Wade, Shaquille O'Neal, Gary Payton. We were debating whether or not it was a flagrant 1.
Right.
When he ran around the court like he was Stone Cold Steve Austin in the WWE Monday Night Raw, and he's out there cheering on him, I said, wait a minute, they're kicking him out? So there's no doubt it was a reputation.
And most of the NBA players seem to agree like that. It was a 1. Like they were tweeting, they were talking about it. So I agree too, but I was just curious to know what you thought about that.
Oh, it was a joke of a flagrant 2. It was a joke. It was a reputation foul. They popped Draymond Green. I've seen a lot worse. I've seen a lot of guys get less for doing a lot worse. Hell, Dylan Brooks, think about this. I want you to think about this. Draymond Green now has 2 points for flagrant 2 for game number 1, getting kicked out, where he held up Brandon Clark. Dylan Brooks has the same amount of flagrant points despite ending Gary Payton II season.
I
And
know.
clubbing him in the head and not making a play on the basketball. 3 minutes into a basketball game, and yet they have the same amount of flagrant points. That to me is not right. That's not right at all.
Insanity. It's insanity. Um, he also, like this was like not specifically related to the Warriors, but this Mad Dog guy, whatever his name is, who
Chris
like
Mad
comes
Dog
on
Russo.
TV, and telling him to like just basically shut up and dribble for that may have not been his exact words, but that was the sentiment.
Shut up and play.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And Dre touched on it, right? And so they've been having like a little, Trey's been tweeting at him a little bit and going at him. What are your thoughts on like just this? Because this is kind of new, right? With like Dre doing this podcast while playing. I mean, JJ Redick did it too, but like he was kind of not as near the end of his career. He was kind of like not as big of a player as Dre is, in terms of like Dre's like a key piece on the Warriors. Like he's in the middle of a run right now and he's ending games and going home and recording podcasts. He has like this media role with TNT. So I mean, it's sort of unconventional and it's new, and it's like, what do you think about that? I mean, like he's going back and forth with this guy in the media, and I'm glad he is, because I did not like those comments that that man made. But like, what are your thoughts on that? And like what, like maybe where this may be going now for like other players?
Well, first of all, Draymond Green is one of the more articulate players that we have in the game. The guy's smart. He's astute. He makes great points. He loves the game. You learn something every time he speaks. Whether or not we're like, oh man, Dre, you should focus maybe more on the 3-point shot and not do this. But you know what? Players deserve a platform. When I hear shut up and play, that's, this is the same guy, Chris Mandel Russo, who say, there's not too many black people qualified to host a radio show. I'm a black guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you look at the landscape, you're like, man, there's not too many guys like us, that look like us. So first of all,
we all understood the racial undertones.
We understand. We heard it right away. Mm-hmm. And the fact that JJ Redick had to speak up on it, and not the other guy sitting across from him.
Yeah, I was like, why is this? I don't understand why this is happening. But
but whatever. We'll move on. Move on. I got no problem with Draymond doing a podcast. I got no problem with them doing TNT, as long as he's giving me maximum effort on the basketball court. And he's doing what the Warriors are paying him to do, which is play solid defense, be a communicator, facilitate offensively, and find Steph and build that rapport with Jordan Poole. I got no problem with them, because all this podcast has been insightful, and hell, it creates content for my show. He's always saying something. He's always saying something, whether it's controversial or not. It's always like, well, Draymond's going to say something. That's who he is. I think it does open up an athlete for athletes to speak up on their behalf, because who am I to say I'm doing a radio show and I'm ripping Draymond Green, for example, right? Oh man, Draymond can't shoot. He didn't do this right. I'm not qualified enough to really speak about what he does on the basketball court. They know they're playing at a higher level. I could maybe criticize here and there, like, oh, I thought they should have played this guy more, or been a little more, as long as you're professional and critiquing these guys, it's all good. But some of these dudes, they go a little overboard and start getting personal. Shut up and play. America doesn't want to hear from you. Well, I'm living in America. I want to hear this podcast.
Exactly.
Podcast.
Which America exactly do you mean doesn't want to hear from him?
Right. What America? Yeah, exactly. So I know what America he was talking about.
Exactly.
So it is. I got no problem with Draymond doing a podcast, man, as long as it doesn't affect his effort on the floor, and the Warriors obviously are not tripping about it. Then I'm cool with it. He's still playing at a high level, and he's coming back from a back injury. I keep thinking, like, damn, when is that back going to go up? But this dude played back-to-back, so 2 straight weekends to end the regular season. Now he can do what he wants to do. He's a first-time champ. He's going to the Hall of Fame. As long as he's handling his business on the floor, I don't care what he does off the floor. And this podcast is really good, so keep doing it, Draymond.
You mentioned something when you were just talking, but about his connection with Poole. Like that's been like I feel like maybe not so under the radar, but it's been like a really great development for the squad, because they have like chemistry.
And no, it's been awesome. It's Steph again. Why everybody says, oh man, it was a blessing in disguise that Steph missed the last 12 regular season games. That report that Poole and Draymond was able to build during that time. it's going to help them moving forward in this postseason and next season and the year after when they're growing older and Jordan Poole is getting older and more mature with this game and becoming the star that he is. So I love that. I love that connection with the two of them. They understand each other. They understand the tendencies, and they both can play off of each other. It's a great development, Matt.
Where are you seeing and I never like to do this because I don't like to limit anyone's ceiling, but what do you think is like the ceiling for like Jordan Poole, or how far, like what are the heights he can bring this team to? Because I think it might be higher than they even originally thought, like, on the Warriors.
Look, I'd be lying if I said I saw this in Jordan Poole. I thought even last year when he was in finishing lineups and he came back from the G League, the average nearly 15 points per game, I said, okay, I got a nice solid role player coming off the bench who may give you 15 on any given night. Great. This guy's a bona fide star. And, Carlos Ramirez, who works over in NBC Sports Bay Area, last year tweeted at me. He was like, Bonta, he reminds me of a right-handed Manu Ginobili. He's freaky. He's got a crazy handle. He's a 3-level scorer. He can go to the rack. And I was like,
That's an interesting comparison.
It's an interesting comparison. But when you think about Manu's game, he was quirky. He got through small spaces. He split double teams. He had a crazy handle and a crazy first step, had a sick little crossover. Manu Ginobili was underrated because he always came off the bench.
Right.
Yet he's a Hall of Fame player and he's a champion. I think this guy can be a Manu Ginobili 2.0, but the ceiling, this guy can score 25 a game.
I think of him as like a Steph Kyrie hybrid, to be honest.
Wow. Yeah, I don't want to put that pressure on him.
I'm not trying to put the pressure on him,
I hear what you're
but
saying.
I mean in terms of the elements of his game.
Yeah. No, he has those qualities that sky's the limit for this guy because he can make plays. He could drop dimes. He makes plays for others, and he can get his 3-ball off. He can get any shot that he wants. They just walked into a bona fide superstar with the 29th pick in the 2019 NBA draft. Like, I go at it with Jason Jones from The Athletic. Oh, you already called him a superstar. Okay, superstar. Look, Steph, Clay, Steph, Kevin Durant, LeBron, all those guys are like, in my opinion, and nobody ever uses this term, but they're mega stars. They're untouchable, right? Then you got your stars. You got your budding stars in like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Giannis is a mega star to me. He's a worldwide ambassador. Jordan has a chance to be an all-star, a perennial all-star, superstar in this league, and he's doing it on the stage.
I feel like this is our OKC Harden situation. I really do. Wow. Except that we're going to be smart and not let him go. But
no.
I mean, that's what I think,
The Brinks truck is already out for Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere. So all these people saying, you got to play Poole. How are you going to? Joe Lacob will pay the tax, the luxury tax, as long as the Warriors are winning. Some people say it's not sustainable. Warriors are raking in money at Chase Center with the concert, March Madness, and Warriors playoff games. They will be just fine. They will pay Poole. Now, what it means for other players on the roster, who knows? The offseason will come soon enough, and we'll talk all about it. But Poole's going to get paid. He's going to be a Warrior for a long time, and the sky's the limit. This guy could be an all-time great.
Him and Kuminga as our two young guys coming up, and then Moody looks to be a solid role guy too. I mean, I will say this right now on the show because I mean, I'm probably more critical of Kerr than I am at the actual front office, but like we have to look, their plan won out for the most part. And I still don't think like they did everything perfectly, but like they said, like they are not going to trade for like a player unless they were getting back like a bona fide like superstar top 10 player. If not, they were going to develop their talent. And lo and behold, like think of all the names people talked about. Ben Simmons, Bradley Beal, Miles Turner. None of those guys were even playing. They all got injured and hurt.
Silly. So the Ben Simmons thing, I said the only way if and I said this on my show, first of all, the tweets out there, I wouldn't trade Wiggins straight up for Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I was not high on the Ben Simmons thing.
So the Ben Simmons thing, I said, if the Warriors really want to do it, the only way you trade for Ben Simmons is if you're ready to trade Draymond Green, because they're basically the same player, but Draymond has heart. That's the difference. You can't take his heart away. Ben Simmons doesn't have any heart. He doesn't. Draymond Green, I will go to war with him 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. This guy's a junkyard dog, and he's a champion. Again, a champion. The guy has championship DNA. He's a junkyard dog. He will do what he has to do to help his team win. So really it was all preposterous for the Bradley Beal, the Ben Simmons. I didn't want the Warriors to do anything because here's how I thought about the all season. The Warriors were 39-33 last season. All right. Steph missed 8 games. They were 2-6 in those games. They missed 9 games. They were like 2-7 in those games. All right. They were 39-33, a couple games behind the Blazers, who were a 5 seed. They're a 5 seed. So Steph plays in those games. They're a top 5 team in the Western Conference. And we're talking about something completely different. And they're a top 5 team without Klay Thompson, without James Wiseman playing the final half of the season.
Right.
So, look,
I thought the same as you, and I think many fans did too. So I think like for people who were so surprised about the Warriors this year, I don't think we were surprised because we knew what this team could be. Our future is looking bright. Like like those 2 years were definitely like obviously not fully enjoyable, but the future is looking bright, and you got to just give credit to the front office. So very quickly, I want you just to tell me your predictions really quickly. So I know what you think for this series. I know you think that the Suns are going to win that. How many games do you think that series is going?
I think it's going 5.
Okay.
Dallas, they can't match up with them. Luka's barbecue chicken, they hunted him all day in the fourth quarter. And they're turning the Dallas Mavericks.
Did you see Jason's kids' comments?
Yeah, what did he say? He's
like, Luka has to participate.
He does.
But I just thought it was an interesting way for a coach to basically say that.
He's not lying.
No, it was real.
Defense. And, the Phoenix Suns have done a great job in turning the Mavericks into a one-dimensional team where they're like, oh, Luka, go ahead and cook. We're going to shut everybody else down. So that's going to be a 5-game series.
Okay, so 5. All right, and then let's take it to the East. So who you got, Celtics or Bucks?
I lean Bucks because they're the champs, but I think it's a 7-game series. It's a 7-game series. And honestly, like it's a 50-50 series.
I got the Celtics in 7, but leaning on home court. And I think that Middleton loss is gonna matter.
Yeah, you know what? I think as the series moves along, I'm kind of like I'm gonna take the Bucks because they're the defending champs. And personally, I don't want to see the Celtics advance because
I know I'm like you, they're the harder team.
Yeah, the Celtics are tough, but the Middleton loss is going to loom large the deeper the series gets into, because I don't know if Grayson Allen has another game like he did in game 1 in him. I don't know if Pat Connaughton can continue to do what he did in game number 1 against his tough Celtics defense. Bobby Portis, I like him as a weapon, but Giannis has to get going. He has to be more efficient. And give the Celtics credit, man. They've really flustered Giannis Antetokounmpo, even though he's getting his numbers, but the efficiency isn't there. I'm going to still lean Bucks in 7. But again, I can see the Celtics winning this series in 7 as well.
Because I don't know if there's been any updates since we've been talking, but Embiid's trying to play tonight. He's cleared protocols. I don't know if he will, but I feel like because they didn't steal any games in Miami, like if he doesn't play tonight and the Sixers don't win, they're just like done. Like they have no chance.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate because of the year he had. So I didn't know how long he was going to be out. So originally I just said Sixers and like 7, because I was like, maybe he'll come back by like game 2 or 3. And, I just always tend to lean the team with the best player in the series. But this injury seems to be maybe worse than I thought. So I don't know. It probably is going to be the Heat that will win.
Yeah, I got Miami in this series. I have them advancing. And you know what? They're a dark horse finals team. Nobody's even talking about them.
I know.
They have a lot of pieces that you can adapt to a lot of different lineups, man. Miami is sneaky good. They haven't even Duncan Robinson, who can't do anything off the dribble. But look, you still got him not even playing, and he's a knockdown 3-point shooter. Tyler Hero's great. Jimmy Butler's getting buckets. They got a nice team in Miami. Even with Embiid, I had Miami winning in 7. Now without Embiid, I'm going to just move forward and think that Embiid doesn't play. I got the Heat in 5.
Okay. So tell me, I'm going to ask you 2 final questions. Tell me the finals matchup you want to see, and then tell me what you think the finals matchup is actually going to be. If you had to make a prediction. And it might be the same 2 teams.
Well, I want it to be the Golden State Warriors and Miami Heat to get a chance to go to South Beach, Miami. You know what I'm saying? Go out there and get some sunshine, go down to South Beach, Miami. I love that. But I do think Phoenix is tough, but the Warriors match up well with Phoenix. I'm going to go Warriors. I'm going to go Warriors and Bucks. It's going to be Warriors and Bucks.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, my reason, but until you just said that, and I'm definitely one of those people who aren't giving the Heat their full credit because, my family's in Florida. So like a Miami finals wouldn't be the worst thing for me. It'd be a lot easier for me to get to Miami than come back out to the Bay right now. So I would like that. And I would also like Boston because that's a 4-hour drive from me. And I actually love games. So but it's Boston is also the one that I want. And even though I think that would be such a tough defense for us, I just think that would be an incredible series. Whenever we play the Celtics in the regular season, those games are incredible.
Yeah, they are in Boston or the Bay Area.
Exactly. I think they offer the best entertainment value. So that's the one that I want. I'd be okay with the Heat. I at least want the Bucks just because I'm not going out there. And I don't know. I mean, I know it's Giannis, but like the Bucks just don't do anything for me as a team. I don't enjoy watching them. I'm not moved by them. I'm like,
I don't blame you, man. No, it's whatever happens. This has been a fascinating playoff so far. These semifinal matchups are awesome. They're juicy, especially Boston, Milwaukee, and the Warriors and the Grizzlies. We'll see if Dallas has any fight tonight. We'll see if Philly has any fight. But the conference final is going to be on fire. It's going to be
they are.
So I'm excited about it. And I'm excited about this Grizzlies-Warriors series moving forward. How are they going to slow down Ja? And once Clay and Steph start cooking, what is that crowd going to be like inside of Chase?
Sure.
Will it be deafening? Will they be?
Well, you've been there for a couple of games now. So has it been when they've gotten going?
So I know a lot of people complained about Game 5 against Denver. The flow was awful. There was a foul every other play. The Denver Nuggets shot 20 free throws in the first half. So as a fan, you want to get into it, but there's a lot of stoppages. So you're like, what am I going to yell during all the stoppages?
Right.
No. But once the Warriors started cooking in the second half, that crowd got up. They got loud. It's not Oracle Arena yet. It takes time, but I think it is there. The acoustics are great. Once it gets loud in there, it's like, I'm getting Oracle vibes. I'm getting playoff vibes. So I'm expecting this crowd to be, look, it's the Bay Area. There's still a lot of people from Oakland going into that arena. There's a lot of people from the East Bay going inside of Chase Center. How do I know? Because they always come up to me and say, I'm from Richmond. I'm from Oakland. I'm from Alameda. Cool. So some of the same fan base, and now some of the diehards have been priced out, but that was the case the last 3-4 years at Oracle Arena.
Right.
A lot of fans were priced out. So that's what happens with championship teams. Ticket prices go up. People can't afford the tickets and you got to watch at home, which is not a bad deal. I watch the Dubs at home all the time. Half the time I prefer to watch the games at home.
Right. Yeah.
So I expect this crowd to be rocking and rolling tomorrow, especially after what happened in Gary Payton II.
So y'all heard Bonta. Make sure y'all get your behinds out there and go bring the energy for our squad. By the way, I love your hoodie. I love it.
Yeah. Shout out to Gunna Goes Global. Gunna Goes Global came up with these hoodies. Check him out. A local rapper out here. He's doing his thing.
Very dope.
Gunna Goes Global, the Bay. We got everything. We got all the cities on the back of this hoodie there.
Love it. Love it.
We rep the Bay out here. That's what we
love
do.
it. I as you know, I'm not from the Bay, but I'm still a huge Warriors fan, and I'm so thankful that y'all have embraced me. So I normally wear some Warriors gear, something on, but I didn't have it today, so I just wore my little earrings.
I saw that. I noticed that.
Can you see that?
I noticed that. I see that.
You're very observant. Good job.
Well played. Very perceptive over here.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on and speaking with me. I appreciate your time and all your knowledge. Really, I'm so thankful to you.
It was a lot of fun, Nat. You've been on Twitter I've been following you for a long time now, man. And you go after it, man. You do not let people talk about your Golden State Warriors. So you represent Dub Nation. You're a writer for the Dubs. So I appreciate it, man. And we all love Dub Nation fans, man. They say we're front-running fans, but you know what? Whatever. They're just not part of the movement. That's all.
No, they're not. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. All right. So listen, you're Bonta, so everyone knows you. I doubt there is a single person who follows me who doesn't know who you are. But if that is now possible, make sure you are following and listening to Bonta, because like, woo, he just continues to be on the come up. So I know more big things are coming.
I appreciate that, man. I love being in the Bay. This is my home.
Of
I
course.
grew up here, grew up loving these teams, the Niners, the Giants, the Warriors. I'm a Bay kid. A lot of people say, oh, man, are you going to go do this, go do that? I love where I'm at right now. I host a morning show in the market I grew up in. I'm able to do pre and post game, which is an honor to work alongside Chris Mullen and Festus Azili and my main man, Darrell Wright. Like, we're having a lot of fun. Kareth Burke and Grant Liffman, Monty Poole. I'm just like, 7 years ago, I was on the outside looking in. So to be able to work with them and represent Dub Nation and make sure that Dub Nation is getting represented the right way, it's truly flattering. So, all the love that Dub Nation shows me, I truly appreciate it. You guys don't have to. You guys accepted me. And so it's always fun to talk Dubs hoops, man, with anybody out there. So thanks for having me on that.
Thank you. All right, guys. Until next time, take care.